the wide receiver rankings. I feel like it's a lot more like, what's your flavor? Do you like the X, the freak athlete that could run alongside line, jump up and get it, or do you like a more productive slot guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown? Being that you break down these analytics so often, what is it that you see is more valuable to a football organization?
Well, I think right now, the way that defenses are playing, what you need is consistency because defenses have taken away explosive to a very large degree. I'll throw out these numbers. I wrote about this a little while ago, so these are off the top of my head. I think these are correct. 26% of touchdowns had been scored from outside of the red zone like 3+ years ago. But over the last couple years, there's only been 21% of all touchdowns scored from outside of the red zones. The defensive too high shells and the way that they're playing coverage is limiting explosive plays and forcing you to be more consistent, driving the football closer and closer to the goal line before you score touchdowns. Drives have more plays, drives have to take more yards, drives have to convert more on third downs. And so as a result, having the players that are going to be able to, it's also easier. I actually just tweeted about this today, posted, whatever you call it now, about how wide receiver ones, it's easier to get them the football. Like back in the day when there was a lot more man coverage, you needed that tall stud wide receiver one with speed to get downfield separation and to be able to win contested catches and just to be that obvious stud. Nowadays, passes have less air yards. They're thrown closer to the line of scrimmage. You're moving your number one receiver more frequently into the slot because it's easier to get the ball to a slot receiver than it is to a guy on the outside. And so as a result, it's just easier to get the ball in the hands of a number one receiver. You don't need to have those historical prototypical Calvin Johnson skill set to dominate as a receiver. Now, I'm not suggesting a guy like Calvin Johnson wouldn't crush in 2025 in the NFL. I'm simply saying that it's easier to have a receiver with more dynamic skills, but less of a pure historical wide receiver one prototype. So as a result, and you definitely want the speed of Jamison Williams to try to get those occasional explosives, but it's great to have a receiver like a Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's going to be there on time where he needs to be and is extremely reliable from a catch rate perspective.